17 March 1866. Why this is an important date for us? This date is important as Honorable Allahabad High Court came into existence at Agra. Thereafter, it was shifted to Allahabad on 1869. But why we are remembering this date today? Why this date is relevant for today's discussion? Believe me, it is. As this date reminds how fortunate we are to become part of such an old, glorious judicial legacy of India. How old our circular letters are issued by Honorable High Court for our guidance. First circular letter issued by Honorable High Court was regarding civil statement and returns on 12th January 1898. So, before we proceed further, I would like to welcome you all on this online training ever organized by this institute due to this COVID-19 pandemic. I hope you are seated comfortably at your positions. Today, I would like to familiarize all you with some of the important circular letters issued by our Honorable High Court. Circular letters. Circular letters are more like internal memos which are issued by an organization, department, institution for their employees. It often provides clarification, information, guidance, rules, and legislative and procedural matters. Our Honorable High Court also provides time to time guidance, orders, direction through these circular letters. So far the circular letters are concerned, they are compiled till 31st March 2011 in 2 volumes. Volume 1 consists of 5 chapters and volume 2 consists of 9 chapters. There is also a supplementary compilation of Honorable High Court circular letters from 1st April 2011 to September 16, which runs into 106 pages. So, you can know how many circular letters are there till yet. These circulars you can access from the site of Honorable High Court or from the site of the institute. Circular covers the matters relating to the following: judicial officers, staff, court compound, statement and return, inspection, payment and accounts, copies, communication, civil cases, criminal cases, district court computerization, legal practitioners, miscellaneous administrative and miscellaneous judiciary. Today's lecture is to by the end of this lecture, I would like all of you to be familiarized with some of the important High Court circular letters. Why these circulars are important? The circulars bring uniformity and objectivity in our day-to-day functioning of courts. They assist the officers in their day-to-day administrative functioning. They create an environment of fraternity and companionship. They help in achieving trust of public in justice system. I have categorized the circular letters in 3 heads mainly. First head, circulars for act and conduct of judicial officers. Second head, circulars related to judicial proceeding. Third head, circulars related to administrative proceedings. Circulars for act and conduct of judicial officers, we will take up all these subtopics under this category. And these are circulars related to judicial proceeding, circulars related to administrative proceeding. In first part, I will like to take up circulars related to act and conduct of judicial officers. In second part of the lecture, I will take up circulars related to judicial proceeding and administrative proceedings. In today's discussion, I will take up circulars for act and conduct of judicial officers. First, court dress or robe for presiding officers. Rule 615, Chapter 27 of General Rules Civil prescribes dress code for judicial officers and as well as for the advocates appearing in the court. Being a presiding officers of a court, it's your duty that your court must look like a court. you should be in proper dress, advocates appearing in your court should be in proper dress, and being a district judge, it's duty that you see that the officers are coming in proper dress. So basically you must look like a judge. Punctuality. It is said that if you want a change, then you be the change. If you want your court to run on time, the staff come on time, the advocates appear on time, and your disposal be on time, then you should be on time. Officers and other officials should abide by the time schedule prescribed for the work, and the time schedule is prescribed in Rule 10 of General Rule Civil. Being a district judge, it is a duty to see that the officers and officials attend the office in time. For this, the district judge may take surprise visit to see the officers are adhering by the time or not. Officers should take their lunch in chamber and not in their residences. This applies even to the officers who don't have a chamber, unless the district judge is satisfied that the court hours are being adhered to. What if somebody violates or does not adhere to the timings? District judge may award following punishment. For 1 day late attendance, verbal warning may be given. For 2 day late attendance, written warning may be given. For 3 day late attendance, 1 day CL may be deducted. For 4 day or more late attendance, disciplinary action may be taken. For any judicial system, it is important that the public at large have trust and faith in it. To build up this trust in public, the officers are expected to maintain absolute integrity and devotion to duty. For this, they should avoid mixing freely with members of public and bar. They should avoid drinking and dining with them or going out with them on picnics. They should avoid sitting late night in clubs playing bridges. Judicial officers should not use intoxicating drinks and drugs habitually, and they should not appear in public places in a state of intoxication. Conveyance belonging to private person or subordinate officers or legal practitioners must also not be used often. Prohibited use of mobile phone. Our Honorable High Court is very strict in this regard. Use of mobile phones, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. is strictly prohibited in working hours. Not only presiding officers, the lawyers or clients appearing in the court are also prohibited from using mobile in court. For proper enforcement of this order, it is to be displayed before and initiated to all courts, prominent places, and the officer bearers of the local bar. What if somebody violates this? If violation of this direction results, the presiding officers may seize the mobile or impose fine on the violator. As district judge, it is our duty to see that the officers are not violating this circular letter and they are not using mobile in court hours. For this, district judge may take surprise visit. What if an officer violates this circular letter? The district judge may initiate disciplinary action against the violating judicial officer. Conduct towards Class 4 employees. Class 4 employees are essential part of any institution. A court can't run without Class 4 employees. So, judicial officers shall not use abusive language against Class 4 employees like peons, orderlies, etc. They should not do physical assault with them, even on gravest provocation. Forced labor, private work from Class 4 employees is prohibited, but utilization of their services in unavoidable circumstances is permitted. The officer should avoid taking private work from Class 4 employees, otherwise it may lead to some serious consequences like complaints and action against them. Smoking and chewing of betel nuts in courts. Smoking or chewing of betel nuts either by the presiding officer or by the counsel appearing in the court during the court proceeding is strictly prohibited. And being a presiding officer of a court, it's our duty to see that this circular letter is not violated. Issue of character certificate. Issuing of character certificate is a responsible task. So, act of certifying should be done only when you have the personal knowledge of the person. Therefore, no certificates of a moral character should be given unless the certifier had direct personal knowledge of some years standing relating to the moral character of the person certified. So, we must abstain from issuing character certificates. Fixing of nameplates and lights on vehicle by judicial officer. Using of beacon lights and writing on vehicles is strictly prohibited by our Honorable High Court. But recently, Honorable High Court had issued stickers to us, which is being used now. Surrender of advocate's enrollment certificate. After coming into service, judicial service or higher judicial service, if you were enrolled as an advocate before, then it's foremost our duty to get the enrollment certificate suspended. Failure to deposit enrollment certificates tantamounts to professional misconduct. Declaration regarding marriage and dowry. All judicial officer and supporting staff in the ministerial and inferior establishment of the district judiciary who have been appointed after 31st March 2004 shall make a declaration under their signature stating that they have not taken any dowry. Purchase of movable, immovable property by the judicial officer. Honorable High Court is the appropriate authority to accord sanction regarding purchase or sale of movable property by the judicial officers. Judicial officers are bound to disclose, bound to inform purchase and sale of movable as an immovable property. Purchase of movable property exceeding in value the amount of his/her basic pay for 1 month by obtaining prior permission from the Honorable High Court is to be informed. Same permission is required for transferring selling of such movable property. Judicial officers may accept or allow their family member to accept wedding presents or a present on ceremonial occasion of value not exceeding 1/10 of the basic pay for 1 month. Statement of property. Judicial officers have to submit the statement of property to the Honorable High Court at the time of entering the service and thereafter at the interval of 2 financial years. This statement of property is to be submitted on prescribed pro forma from time to time. So, after joining of the service, keep in mind that you have to disclose through property statement what you had before joining the service and after joining the service. Firearm. Judicial officer may have firearm, they can purchase firearm, but before this they have to take permission from Honorable High Court for the purchase of firearm. NOC for obtaining passport. Judicial officers have to take prior permission, no objection certificate from the Honorable High Court for obtaining passport. This application should be forwarded to Honorable High Court through the concerned district judge. And the application must contain name, designation, dependent family members, and the other details which are required by Passport Act. Permission for visiting outside India. Judicial officers may visit outside India, but for this they have to take prior permission from the Honorable High Court for visiting abroad. And this visit may be during vacations or official holidays and shall not be further extended. Application for seeking permission must contain the purpose of visit, preparation of stay, and source of expenses to be incurred in said visit. For applying visa, the judicial officer has to take permission at least 2 months prior to the proposed visit, and this application shall also be forwarded through the concerned district judge. Grant for drawing room. Judicial officers are entitled for one-time grant for decoration of their drawing room during the entire period of their service for amount equivalent to Rs 50,000. Electricity and water bill reimbursement. Judicial officers are entitled for electricity and water bill reimbursement to the extent of actual amount of bill or Rs 1,000, whichever is less. Reimbursement for spectacles facility. Judicial officers are entitled to purchase spectacle not more than Rs 15,000 once in 3 years, but that is to be recommended by a doctor, and approval of medical superintendent of the hospital is required. This includes wife of a judicial officer, but the cap of 15,000 remains the same, and the other prerequisites which are required for the application. Grant of permission to judicial officer for doing professional courses. Judicial officer who desire to pursue professional courses must take prior permission from the Honorable Allahabad High Court. This is seen often that the judicial officer take admission and then inform the Honorable High Court, but it is considered as a misconduct. So before enrolling for any course, you have to take prior permission. Any judicial officer who wants to pursue higher studies during the course of his service has to apply for grant of study leave as per rules, and this permission is at the discretion of the Honorable High Court. Supply of government furniture at residence. This is the list of furniture which is supplied at the residence of judicial officer in various cadres. Books for residential library of judicial officers. For judicial officer to be well versed with law, judicial officers are provided with residential library. These set of books is considered as a government property, and so it to be returned at the time of the retirement. The book shall be handed over to the concerned district judge at the time of transfer or retirement of judicial officer. The books with judicial officers on deputation in UP shall be handed over to the successor judicial officer of UP or the district judge of the station. Residential accommodation. When an officer is transferred or he joins as a new trainee officer, then it's up to district judge along with the district magistrate to allot government residences to the officers. But if government accommodation is not available, then private residences may be taken. For that, rent is fixed by the district magistrate. But if an officer is living in private residence and a government residence become available and he does not vacate the private residence, then he have to pay rent of the government residence also. If the officer transferred to another station does not occupy the official residence vacated by his predecessor or occupies it late by its own volition, he will have to pay the rent of the residences in question for the period it remained vacant or account of his failure to occupy it. On being informed of his transfer, the district judge should himself move the district magistrate for allotment of the house to the successor. A judicial officer or his family member, on transfer of judicial officer or retirement of judicial officer or on death of the judicial officer, as the case may be, shall not retain the official residence beyond 30 days from the date of such event, and any default in this behalf shall constitute misconduct. Earlier this was 45 days, but by the circular letter it has been changed to 30 days. What if somebody wants to retain the house beyond 30 days? The Honorable High Court may permit the retention of the official residence on the same terms and condition for a period of 1 more month on payment of rent as prescribed after recording sufficient reasons, and in no case the retention shall be allowed beyond 2 months. A judicial officer who desires to retain the official residence beyond 30 days must submit its representation to the Honorable High Court through the district judge of the judgeship he is posted. But mere pendency of the representation will not be a ground to retain the official accommodation beyond the prescribed period of 30 days, and therefore consequences shall follow. The district judges must ensure strict compliance of these guidelines, and any default must be immediately brought to the notice of the court by fax and speed post. If you want to represent, then these are some of the details which you have to put in your representation application. Maintenance of court diaries by the presiding officers. In our court, we maintain many registers. Presiding officer personal diary is one of them. Personal diaries are to be maintained by all officers for observance of their punctuality. Presiding officers of subordinate courts have to maintain court diaries in their own handwriting. In this personal diary, we record the timings of sitting on dais, getting off the dais, having lunch, how much work we did on a particular day, and the pro forma is this for the personal diary. And this diary may be checked by respected district judges from time to time. Handling of judicial records by outsiders. No outsider shall be allowed to handle any judicial record of the court. If any employee is found to permitted any outsider to handle any judicial record, or to have engaged any outsider to assist him in the court work, strict action shall be taken against the defaulting employee. And being a PO, we have to be very strict on our court employees, as a loss of record results in failure of justice. Training. All the judicial officers nominated by the Honorable Court for different training programs are ordinarily required to undergo such trainings. But if a judicial officer seeks exemption, then he has to apply within 3 days after receipt of nomination letter. And such application is routed through concerned district judges after endorsement of satisfaction on the application. Along with this application, you have to provide relevant material proof like medical papers or marriage card, etc. In case of no supportive document, a separate cogent reason should be assigned for the satisfaction of the approving authority. Appointment with Honorable Chief Justice. In case of any difficulty, judicial officer first move to the concerned district judge. If not resolved, then to the Honorable Administrative Judge, and then finally to the Honorable Chief Justice, but through learned Registrar General. No direct communication to the Honorable Chief Justice to be made without any basis. Cordial relation and respect. To maintain brotherhood among judicial officers, this is must. Judicial officers should respect and maintain cordial relationship with their fellow officers. It is obligatory for the judicial officers newly posted to the district to call on and meet other officers posted at the station. In the end, I would like to conclude this part with this saying: behavior is always greater than knowledge, because in life there are many solutions where knowledge fails, but behavior can still handle. Thank you. Be safe.